What have you done, Tahereh Mafi? Just like what? Like, we really need to talk about this last book of yours. I don't know if this is going to be a rant or a rave. Hey you guys, okay, I'm back on my channel with another review video, and this is for the Shatter Me series. I just completed reading this entire series. This consists of 6 books. I just finished the last one yesterday, and I had to sit down and make this video right away because I am perplexed right now. So for those of you who haven't read the Shatter Me series, I'll just give you a bit of a background. This is a dystopian set of books that are set somewhere in like a far future. Our main protagonist is Juliet, also affectionately known as J, and she starts off in the first book as a captive prisoner in a cell where she's tied up and she has no knowledge of what's going on around her. This is in like the middle of a military base, and what she knows, or all she can remember, is that she is a weapon, and that's why she has been held captive in this military base. So her power is anybody she touches immediately burns and dies. So she is so scared to even touch anybody, and hence she is isolated, and she spends all her lifetime that she is aware of in this cell. So that's the premise of the first book, and that is Shatter Me. And we slowly start to learn about Juliet and who she is. Her story starts to take a turn when this guy called Adam comes and starts staying with her in that cell, and she's surprised that somebody other than herself. For the first time, she's able to talk to somebody, she's able to relate to somebody, and so she gets really attached to this person. And slowly she meets Warner, who is the head of the military base person's son. So she meets him, he leads the army, and she realizes that she's part of a re-establishment where they are isolated away, and she stays there. So I mean, the plot is just brilliant. I thought that the storyline, all of these characters were just amazing. So I'll go with the pros first. Now, I know a lot of people have their back and forth about this Shatter Me series, but I personally loved the starting of the series. So I loved the first 3 books, in fact, because we learn more about Juliet, we learn about Adam. There's a lot of screen space for them, and then we meet Warner, and there's a lot of character development in Warner as well. We understand that he is very silo, he makes his own decisions, he takes his own decisions, he is very aggressive, he gets things done, he's on the face, everyone's like scared of him. So he's like this typical bad boy. Gonna for sure be like a love triangle that's gonna form, and that happens in the first 3 books. So Juliet and Adam and Warner, there's a love triangle that's blossoming. Juliet ends up being in a relationship with Adam through the first book, through the second book. I don't want to give out many spoilers in the first half of this conversation, so I will actually put a pin drop towards like the part of the video where I'm going to start talking about spoilers. But basically, this is how the story progresses. She kind of escapes the establishment. She tries to go and live in this separate place where all of the survivors are living, and she starts learning more and more about who she is and what's going on around the world and why there are re-establishments in the first place, who is Warner, who is the leader, who's the supreme commander. So many things happening in the book, and we meet like some amazing characters like Kenji, who I personally loved in the first 3 books. So everything was brilliant. I'm gonna hit spoiler over here, so if you've not read the book, remember to go back, read the book, and come back. But I think I'm going to spend more time on the spoiler section for this video because I am, like I said, so upset right now. So if you have read the book, then you can continue watching. So we start off the last 3 books in the series taken off from the fact that now Juliet has become the Supreme Commander, and she is leading the North America Supreme Commanding re-establishment. She then starts supposedly to meet other Supreme Commanders of different continents, and apparently she learns there are so many continents. We also find out that Juliet actually kills Anderson, who is the Supreme Commander, and so she and Adam break up also after a point, and then she ends up with Warner. So many things happen, and I'm okay with everything. I swear I was okay for everything up until the second last book. The second last book had me at, okay, I can get with this. We are trying to learn a little bit more about how Juliet is going to start commanding this place, how she's going to take ownership. But you know what? Nothing happens. So her character development actually went down. So she started off being like this whiny, not really sure about who she is kind of character. And I get it. She was stuck captive in a place. She didn't know anything about anyone, where she was, who her parents were, nothing. So she comes off as a clean slate and she has a lot of questions, and I'm okay with that. It took her 3 books to actually develop a backbone and then finally realize that she has so much power that she can actually use for good, and I don't know, also kill a few people who are bad. And she has a lot of people who actually care for her. So she actually had so much time for character development. But what she does in the second last book is shave her head because she's pissed. She actually just goes and annoyingly says that she is the one who wants to talk to all of the Supreme Commanders because she wants to be taken seriously. But all the time she just talks about how her dresses are, they're not really fancy, they're really plain. She's not like, a typical girl. I don't know. I mean, she had so much potential. I normally just don't like it when some character has been given so much of power. And I mean literal power. You touch a person, they die. So they've been given so much power and you don't know how to use it. Fine, you've got to learn to use it, learn to control it. Great. But at some point when you're completing the series, you at least want the character transformation to take place. You want Juliet to realize that she is powerful. She is capable. She is like, people look up to her. Then she needs to take up that power and recognize it and create some self-awareness about who she is. But she does nothing. She's always caught up in boyfriend drama throughout the last 3 books. And you know what, I was still okay. I was still giving her like some leverage. What I loved was Kenji did not get his own like point of views in the first, I think, almost 4 books. So last 2 books Kenji had his point of view. So in the 5th book, I was really excited when Kenji got his point of view because I wanted to know more about Kenji because he was this really fun, take the stress away, happy-go-lucky kind of guy. And I wanted him to have like the happiest life in the world. So I wanted to see his point of view a lot. And I was excited when I finally got it. But in the last book, it was literally like Kenji was holding the whole series on his spine. So he probably got a fracture, I swear. I mean, he had to do everything. He had to go save Juliet. He had to go save Warner. He had to save the establishment. He had to create a plot with himself and Nazira, his love life. I don't know, like, when did the story change from Juliet to Kenji? And if Juliet has all these powers and she is considered the Supreme Commander, she does nothing. In the last book, I expected explosives. I expected so many things to happen, so many conclusions, so many eye-opening moments that could have been there, but nothing was there. Basically, what happens in the last book is Juliet is somehow mind hypnotized or mind, I don't know, captured by Anderson, the Supreme Commander, and she spends his time with him in the army base, and everybody has to go and save her. Well, basically, Kenji has to go save her. But the weirdest thing is this weird attraction that was kept on popping up in the book between her and Warner's dad. So I don't know, I got miffed. I mean, what is this new storyline? Why do we even have this plot line? It's totally not needed. It almost felt like this book could have been done in 100 pages, but because it was the epic conclusion to this big series, it had to be done for like 500 pages. And all through the book, all we could see were random flashbacks of Juliet, which honestly at this point I didn't care as much. because we already saw a lot of those flashbacks in the previous books, and so I really wanted a conclusion, but it was just subpar, and Imagine Me really disappointed me. I mean, so much could have happened in this book, and nothing did. Nothing. I mean, now I feel like all the amazing things that happened in the first three books were just wasted by this book. And that happens to a lot of series, and I've read a lot of series where they drag it on for too long, and then there's no point of dragging it any further, so you just have this abrupt conclusion. And that's what happened in this book as well, except that it was just 6 books into the series. And oh, now I'm sitting here thinking that this could have just very well been a trilogy, and it would have been the best trilogy ever. But this last book was, oh my god, just a waste of 600. How many odd pages? Is 500 pages. Just like, why? Why was this even written? I don't know. I just need to rant and rant and rant. I guess now I kind of understand why a lot of people don't like the Shatter Me series. Maybe because it's not about the first 3 books, it's more so about the last 3 books. And that's kind of like a weird sentiment to have. And I didn't understand that at the beginning. And I was all like, oh my gosh, I love the series. It's weird when your first 3 books have like 5 stars and your last book has 2 stars. That's when you know that this series went like that. And I am so disappointed with Imagine Me. I don't even know where to start. I mean, I've been rambling along for so long. There's like this whole other sister character called Emmeline. At first I was like, okay, wow, there's gonna be like a new thing, there's gonna be like a new plot line, we're gonna learn about Emmeline, something's gonna happen, maybe they're gonna reunite, maybe they're gonna meet, and that just poofed the moment it started. I mean, what happened to all these important storylines? What happened to Emmeline? What happened to Warner? And Warner's dad, Anderson, he keeps dying and he keeps coming back. And then he keeps dying and then he keeps coming back. I mean, dude, seriously, are you a vampire? I'm sorry, you guys. If this was one of your favorite series, I think you're gonna hate me for this, but I just had to talk about it. I just wanted to talk about it because I don't know if a lot of you also feel what I felt. And to be fair, I like Tahereh Mafi's books. I mean, I love The Woven Kingdom. So I also like the first 3 books of hers in the Shatter Me series. So I don't really think that I wanted to rant about this, but I just had to. And there were so many unanswered questions throughout this that I just felt, needed to be talked about. So I'm gonna stop right here. If you have read this series, let me know in the comments below if you have similar thoughts of mine, or I don't know, I probably may have to read it again if you think that I missed a lot of things in the book that you probably found. Overall, it's a great series. I would still recommend it because if you haven't read it, I think you should, because at least for the first 3 books, because they were just brilliant. But I don't know about the last 3. So, well, if you can finish the last 3, or if you want to know what happens to the rest of the story, you can definitely read the last 3 books. But otherwise, meh. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and I will see you in another video. Bye.